Africa, a continent beautiful yet troubled, a huge landmass with amazing diversity. One thing the region has in common, though, is its reliance on agriculture. Indeed, agriculture is the engine that drives the continent, a situation that shows no sign of changing. Agriculture employs two-thirds of the labor force in Africa, but it generates only about a third of its gross domestic product. For agriculture to make the desired impact, greater investment in agriculture is needed, especially in agricultural research. The role of the Forum for Agricultural Research in Africa, Fara, is to bring about that impact. Fara's mission is to facilitate agricultural development and by so doing alleviate poverty and empowering a greener Africa. But what exactly does Fara do?
The African leaders thought that we lack coordination in terms of agricultural research efforts. And in fact, at that time, the coordination of agricultural research for development was being done outside Africa in Washington at the World Bank. And African leaders were not very happy. So they decided that they should create an institution that will be African-owned, African-led, functioning from within Africa, to serve as the apex body to coordinate and facilitate agricultural research for development for the continent as a whole. And this is how Fara came into being.
The key to that answer is the word forum. Fara provides a forum where agricultural scientists throughout Africa can come together to discuss common problems and aspirations.
The reality of climate change became more evident, and its impact are becoming more widespread.
It's an umbrella organization that brings together the major stakeholders in agricultural research and development in Africa.
The vision of Fara actually relates to the vision for agricultural development in Africa, which is to increase agricultural production growth rate by 6% by the year 2015. And the mission of Fara is to ensure that Fara rallies all the key entities, to achieve that vision.
Fara's role is to bring together the many different men and women whose lives revolve around agriculture. Farmers, extension workers, scientists, business people, and others. We provide platforms for all of them to interact as a single dynamic family. At Fara's General Assembly, which is held every 3 years, stakeholders in African agriculture meet to discuss the many problems faced by smallholder farmers, as well as the latest trends in research to confront these problems.
All entities involved in agricultural research for development are supposed to be members of Fara. But the first contact from Fara as the apex body for agricultural research is through the sub-regional organizations. And these are umbrella organizations that are coordinating and facilitating agricultural research for development in their respective sub-region.
Fara's 5th General Assembly was held in Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso.
I don't know how many
The main topic was African agricultural innovation in a changing global environment.
Our people are still hungry. There's still rampant poverty. And this is the cornerstone of what Fara is doing, mobilizing the African research institutions and actors to work together to ensure that our people are able to feed themselves, that they are not hungry, but also that we produce for market.
We are happy that Fara has continuously supported the gender perspective of agriculture. And this is very relevant at this 5th Agric Week. It shows how open Fara is towards the development of women in the area of science and technology, in the area of agricultural research, to actually make agricultural productivity in Africa.
Fara has made considerable impact. Without Fara, there would have been no General Assembly. And in fact, if you want to judge Fara, I think judge Fara as a forum, and as a forum, Fara is supposed to bring all of these entities together. In that regard, I would say that Fara has done a tremendous job, because before the existence of Fara, everybody was going their own way. It's like scattered sheep, and now we are together. We are talking. We are together identifying the problems. We are together trying to see how we can solve the problem. That is a major key accomplishment of Fara.
Approximately 80% of Africans depend on agriculture for their livelihoods. Thus, Africa's overall economic performance is inextricably linked to the performance of its agriculture sector. A food crisis has been brewing for the past few decades. Demand for food is expected to reach $100 billion by 2015.
If we look at the challenges that our farmers are facing, is that they have the challenge of poor quality seed. Now the issue is, how do you get better quality seed, and what is better quality seed? Now better quality seed is seed that is adapted to environment, and researchers are best placed to generate those technologies, particularly when it comes to improved seeds that are adapted to the local condition, but more important, are affordable.
Despite the gravity of the situation, donor lending declined sharply during the 1980s and the 1990s. Official development assistance to agriculture falling from 18% in 1979 to 3.5% in 2004. Fara recognizes that food supplies are under pressure from a variety of factors: more people to feed, a switch from easily grown foods like yam, cassava, sorghum and maize to less easily grown foods like rice, wheat and convenience foods. Rising energy prices have triggered competition with biofuels for arable land. Global warming and frequent severe drought means crops need better absorption and water retention capacity. Fara recognizes that Africa needs vibrant research, education and extension systems to bring the latest technologies to farmers, to provide them access to inputs and markets, and to build a solid infrastructure for moving agricultural products. But with political will, commitment to action and greatly increased funding, anything is possible. In 2003, seeking ways to help smallholder farmers, Fara sought two strategic partners. This partner was NEPAD, the New Partnership for Africa's Development, a program of the African Union. Together, Fara and NEPAD work to ensure that proven technologies are made available to farmers throughout Africa.
And we actually can mention that all the...
Fara's specific mandate is to lead Africa's agricultural research, adoption and dissemination of innovative technologies. To this end, Fara developed FARP, the Framework for African Agricultural Productivity.
To increase agricultural productivity, you need research, you need extension services to function effectively, you need educational institutions and services to function effectively. So what Fara is currently doing is to assist these countries to integrate elements of agricultural research, extension, and education. And all of these are contained in Fara's framework for agricultural productivity, which is known as the FAP. And that is what we are currently using to assist countries come up with their country investment plans.
The goal of FAP is to harmonize investments and to improve efficiency in use of available resources and attract new investments.
The ordinary farmer will benefit from the FAP principle in the sense that all the research activities that are being planned, that will be implemented, will take into consideration their needs, and as well as ensure that they will be strengthened, their capacity will be strengthened, so that they will also be involved in priority setting of the agricultural research priorities, as well as the implementation of those programs and the monitoring and evaluation. So the farmers' needs are really taken into account in those agricultural productivity programs.
Programs and projects are established based on the demands of its constituents and with continental value. Fara has a number of direct partners to implement its projects, from institutions to civil society organizations and development partners. Fara provides support through advocacy, improving access to knowledge and technologies, capacity building, strengthening regional policies and markets, and perhaps most important of all, fostering partnerships. By 2006, Fara had made itself known as an active champion of agricultural research and development in Africa. Fara had raised the profile of agriculture in Africa and beyond, and its ideas for achieving increased productivity were achieving results on the ground. During its 8 years of existence, Fara has grown from a fledgling networking platform into a substantial entity that has already demonstrated its comparative advantage in agricultural research for Africa.
We needed to act very quickly. If we need to be competitive, we have to be very reactive and opportunistic. Remember, during that time, there was a renewed interest in Africa. We need to be present everywhere, but at the same time, we need to make sense.
Indeed, Fara has become a model for other regions on how continental platforms can be dynamic and responsive to diverse constituents. In its early years, Fara started working with partners in East, West, and Central African nations. More recently, Fara facilitated the creation of CADESA, the Coordinating Council for Agricultural Research and Development in Southern Africa, as well as NASRO, the North African Sub-Regional Organization. Fara is committed to excellence in everything it does. It is also highly committed to the welfare of its members. How does Fara respond to its most important clients, the smallholder farmers of Africa? Well, here's an example. At the Ouagadougou 2010 General Assembly, farmers complained about the big gap they perceived between them and the researchers.
The very fact that a technology has been generated, the challenge that we have, it may not necessarily be relevant to the farmers themselves.
Depuis un certain temps, je crois qu'il y a un changement de mentalité de part et d'autre. Puisque jusque-là, qu'est-ce qu'on avait constaté? C'est que les chercheurs étaient dans leur coin, les politiciens dans leur coin, et les producteurs aussi étaient laissés à eux-mêmes. Je crois que chemin faisant, les gens ont compris qu'on ne peut pas bâtir une politique, qu'elle soit de la recherche ou qu'elle soit une politique agricole, sans les producteurs. Alors c'est ce qui fait que cette rencontre pour nous, elle est importante.
I think that one of the reasons we have not been able to engage the farmers a bit more actively is because the universities that do research, most of them are located in urban areas. They are not directly linked to farmers. What we really need is a new generation of African agricultural universities that are located where the farmers are, that are open to farmers' input, including having what I would describe as open classrooms, where farmers can actually come in the classroom and listen to the lectures, and if they have a question, they can ask the researchers.
Le Forum africain pour la recherche agronomique, le Fara, est une plateforme qui coordonne la recherche agricole en Afrique. Et nous avons par le passé fait beaucoup de choses, mis des structures en place, mis des projets en place, et je pense qu'il nous faut passer à la phase de l'action. Il faut passer à la phase de l'action, conduire des projets qui donnent des résultats qui sont utilisés par les producteurs sur le terrain. Transmettre les technologies qui existent, transmettre l'information aux utilisateurs pour qu'elles soient transformées effectivement donc, en action sur le terrain et que cela améliore la productivité. C'est donc à cela que nous allons travailler. Nous allons travailler pour traduire la recherche en action sur le terrain.
Fara's commitment to facilitating agricultural development and alleviating poverty is both unequivocal and passionate.
It's true, there are millions of African farmers. We cannot reach all of them. But how do we actually empower those service providers to the farmers that they could effectively deliver the services to the farmers, from an extension workers to the ministry, to the scientists? How do we actually change that? We could only say we've succeeded if this change of mindset has gone down to the national level, to the extension workers, and that farmers are actually saying, yes, we are now doing good harvests, we can bring our children to school and they have a good future.
The business plan is there, it's available, and any donor, any partner, any government that would like to support Fara, please respond to that business plan.
Through cutting-edge research and technology, Fara will not rest to provide all that is needed for the hard-working African farmer to pull herself out of drudgery and to enter a world of prosperity.